So I have a question for you. Do you think, Marie was verbally abusive to Malcolm?
I mean, they both were to each other. So are you just reacting? Is it a reaction? I love that she took the time, like I said, like what I do, but she came back with another punch, right? Oh. She's like, okay, let me take this. Let me go to my corner. Okay, all right, and then blah blah, and I was like, oh, okay. So it was a different way of abuse, and a lot of people like that are fragile, right? So when you hit, I mean, she was able to take it because she had a whole nother issue going on, and he went there. Everybody knows there's certain things in a relationship that you just don't bring up, and if you go there, like that's almost like the relationship is over. Everybody has that. Like there's some soft spots or sore spots that you're just like, hey, if we go here, I might have to cut you.
Yeah.
And so that scene when she shows she's acting, but I was like, oh man, she about to cut him. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I thought either she was gonna like harm herself.
Yeah. At first,
or she was gonna kill him, and this was gonna turn into a horror film.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I would love if they did, just to throw this out there, they could do 3 or 4 alternate endings.
True.
You could literally go crazy with this. It was such a dramatic scene, the whole entire movie. So, I mean, literally, I was for a ride either way. You can literally go anywhere you want. This is the first time, normally you see a play become a movie, but I could really see this movie become a play, but you need solid actors. I mean, because it's one set, right? Literally it's one set. You pan off, and it's just 2 people going back and forth. But they really have to be able to control the screen, not even beauty-wise, but in terms of really, I felt like I was peeking in on my friends or my neighbors.
Yeah.
And
how comes.
Exactly. And I don't know a lot of people that could carry that, for a whole 2 hours.
Right. And so when you think about the level of commitment from Zendaya and John David Washington that went into these characters, I'm in awe. Like, first of all, how do you memorize all of that? And also, did you slide in your own, your own take on the dialogue? Because, I mean, there were moments where Zendaya, it just felt like we were watching Zendaya have a conversation with John David Washington as opposed to Marie having a conversation with Malcolm. And so this goes back to my theory of Sam Levinson getting some input from them, writing wise. So it's kind of authentic to who they are. I don't know. One of the things I loved was the highs and the lows, the way the highs and the lows were introduced in the film, right? We go from a super aggressive, hyper aggressive argument to like a soft musical background.
Yeah.
And it's this reality comes in, reality comes out, reality comes in. And I thought that articulated the way the ebb and flow of love, right? Because one time I will love you in one instance, and in another instance, I will hate your guts. And so even if I hadn't had a similar experience to this, I think I would have related just on a basic level of relationships. When you're dealing with 2 humans, 2 completely different humans, we're not always going to be able to relate to one another. But how we express those emotions is what sort of makes the distinction between abuse and a conversation, right? So what constitutes abuse, right? Because Malcolm went for the jugular.
Yeah.
Not to say that Marie didn't. She did it too, but she did it in a way that she wasn't pulling shit out of the hat that had nothing to do with the fight. And that's kind of where Malcolm lived. And so for me, it was his guilt coming out, right? Because you got to reach way down in the bag to pull some shit out to justify you not thanking me for a movie that was based on my life, a movie that we talked about doing together. And it was about me. Like, he fought that so hard as a man. Like, what is that? Is that like a universal male response? Just like not willing to accept what it is or what it ain't? Like what?
Yeah, like I said, as I spoke about a little bit earlier, you definitely have to be at that maturity level to understand the full picture of it. In any relationship, what are you getting out of that? Do we want to be a unit, or are we still individuals?
Right.
What do you bring? Are we going to bring a family together? Are we going to build a company? Are we going to build a business? Or is it still like, oh, that's what she does, that's what I do? And that's how I think relationships kind of work, when you guys feel like, hey, we're coming together to build something. When it's still individualizing each other's goals, that's when you kind of have this back and forth. He's a baby at the end of the day. I mean, it was sometimes painful to watch, to see his character like that. I was like, bro, you're killing me. But then a lot of these times it reminded me, like, wait, was this Spike Lee dealing with his relationship when he was growing up, like, being a young on the scene director and getting all these accolades and saying this and that? Was this something he was going through?
You said Spike Lee. You mean Sam Levinson?
No. I'm saying Spike, because I felt as a Black director.
Oh,
I really felt like, I envisioned myself being a young Black director who's gonna blow up, right? And so John Singleton, Spike was like, just making noise and making all these splashes. So I try to see through those eyes and be like, wow. And I wonder, his wife or his girlfriend at the time going through that with him and being like, listen, you don't understand. I'm going to be the next big thing. I need you to understand that. And that's a tough thing to kind of swallow and understand. Like, you're going to be Spike Lee. You're telling, at 21, 22, you're like, no, I'm going to be the Spike Lee that's Spike Lee now. I'm going to be that. So I want you to really understand that if you're on this trip with me, this is how I'm going to be. There's going to be ups and downs. I think even in sports, like athletes, right? There's going to be, if you're going to be in my relationship, there's going to be times I'm going to step out on you, but I'm going to be the star I'm going to be, and you're going to make this money.
Yeah, but give me my credit along the way, right?
Yes.
I'm on this ride along with you. I'm putting up with all your bullshit. Give me my just due credit.
But again, it's a younger relationship, so you learn that. If you stick with the person, hopefully they learn that over time. But if not, that was your check, right? That was your one check. Like, oh yeah, okay, he did it again. Why am I still in this? And so what am I getting out of that? And that's also, it's tough, right? Because as a Black male, I have to understand a couple of things, empathizing with women going through abusive relationships and empathizing with women of color. Like, what pressures do you have to kind of, be subjected to this? I want to make a relationship work because there's not a lot of Black relationships at work. There's not a lot of relationships at work, right? So I don't want to be one of these failing relationships. So at what point do I stick up for myself, or do I just allow this person to browbeat me to a point where I feel so insecure that I kind of put it either on my child or on my friends or other people or my loved ones? So that's where I don't know from experience to really understand that, just talking to people. And so it's interesting.
Yeah. Oftentimes, from the female perspective, it's a response to aggressive verbal abuse, right? So if you've never been in that situation before, and then you're planted in that situation, and now you're faced with all this aggression, you either respond or react, or you do not, right? Yeah. So Marie chose to respond and to join the fight and to battle him down to, the bare knuckles, because at the end of the day, Marie, what I loved about Marie, actually, now that I think about it, is that she held on to what it is she believed in, to what hurt her, to what was causing her so much turmoil. She didn't let it go. She didn't back down. She went into the lion's den, because that's what it was. Malcolm was a lion, and Marie was a lion in her own right, but she was a lioness in her own right. And the fact that she chose to go into it and challenge him and give him as much aggression as he was giving her, I think that was dope to see, right? Because often that's not articulated. We don't see the woman standing up for herself and speaking up and using her voice and using her words and her emotions to articulate what it is she feels, to the point where she finally successfully manages to drill in his head, all I wanted was a thank you, and this is why. That's it. It took us 1 hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, no, you could have, shoot, man, you could have saved us. Woo.
Listen, okay. It took us that long for you to understand where I'm coming from. So back to your point of maturity. A lot of, oftentimes maturity does not exist in relationships, and it's not specific to age. It's specific to experience and our mindset and how we grew up, what we grew up seeing. If we don't know any better, we're certainly not going to do any better.
That's a great point, because I was just about to ask you, I mean, does age play a part in this, right? Because he is older than her, even in this movie. I don't know what the age differences are in terms of that, but, would an older woman take that abuse in terms of, like, would he be checked? Or because she's younger, he's like, I can get away with this.
Right.
So I know what I do. Like, an older woman's like, shit, not today.
Not today.
Like, you are not going to disrespect me that way. She got back at him, but not in that way. Like, that look like,
right.
No. Like, I'm checking that at the door. And so he was checked, but not like that, like a quick, like 1-2 in the gut. Like, okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I will keep it into this box. I'm not going to go outside of this box and disrespect you as a woman or as my significant other, as my partner. And so,
but he did, though.
Exactly. But my question is, do you think that would have happened if it was an older woman? But you hit the nail on the head again, just saying, like, it's all about your experiences at the end of the day. If you haven't had an experience, you could be 80 years old and still get abuse. It doesn't really matter. So That's kind of interesting to see that, because I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, well, if she was older, that wouldn't happen. But then I'm thinking about, wow, no. I mean, we see that all the time in relationships, like people that still stick around for it because they just don't either know that it's going on, or they just don't know how to escape it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I am that older woman. I did experience it, but so my relatability comes in terms of me responding to the aggression, right? How you respond to aggression with aggression. Mm-hmm. So here I am, the complete opposite of aggression, faced with a situation where I have to verbally defend my beliefs and defend why I said what I said and defend why I reacted to the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth. And so, that, and what's so crazy about those type of relationships is, as intense as they are, they're also beautiful. And so this beautiful bullshit right here is what keeps you in this shitty situation for however long you're going to stay in it. But through that, there's a lot to learn. I feel like, in my mind, I went through that situation to learn something about Ellen. And I did, right? And so I don't have regrets because I learned so much. I grew some teeth. I grew tougher skin. Mm-hmm. I became somebody that I needed to become so that I never be in that situation again.
Does part of you like the drama, though?
No, I'm a drama. No, prior to that, I was drama free.
Okay.
Any relationship I had been in was drama free. So that was like the first exciting,
intense, right? It was just intense, that back
dramatic relationship. And it was just kind of like, and I think that's what kept me in it. The fact that I'd never been in it, the fact that it was like super heightened on the love side, but then also when things weren't good, they were bad, right? And verbally, from me and from him. So that, I think that's what's so dope about Malcolm and Marie. It's not this one-sided conversation. We see it from the female perspective, what it looks like, and also from the male perspective, which unfortunately is a little bit more aggressive than the female just by nature. Segueing really quickly into something completely different in terms of the shots, right? The shot from the bedroom outside the window, as Malcolm is looking for Marie, because at this point she's left the house. peace out. I need a minute. He goes looking for her. And that shot from within the bedroom looking through that window was beautiful. Yeah. It was almost like art that hangs on a wall. It was gorgeous. And so as Malcolm is like walking past this big, beautiful tree that's well lit, the lighting again is incredible. I don't know if you noticed, but he walks with straight tunnel vision this way. The tree is back here. It's big and it's beautiful. This is Malcolm walking past the tree. At no point does he look left or right. And in my mind, that was so synonymous with how he perceives life, how he lives his life. It's super tunnel vision. You could give a shit about what's going on around you, because he could have looked to his left and maybe seen Marie hiding behind a tree, but he didn't.
Yeah, wow, man. Right.
That might have been a clue as to his personality.
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, look at you. All right.
Yo, I was all up in this.
Like on the 6th time I watched it, I saw that. Just came out of nowhere.
And that's what's so good about watching movies over and over again, because I'm the type of person that I will miss like a thousand things the first time I watch it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this was so intense. You do miss things, so it's nice to watch this. That's the beauty about Netflix.
Right.
I think with Netflix and HBO, the more movies we're watching, I don't know if I could watch some of these movies in the movie theater. Right? No, just because I would miss the. I'd have to wait. I'd be giving them a lot of money, right? Just
you gotta wait 7 months.
I'm like, I gotta watch it again. Oh my God, I missed this. I gotta watch it.